Diamond Girls by Jacqueline Wilson. Chapter 1. "I've got a surprise for you girls," said Mum. "We're moving." We all stared at her. She was flopping back in her chair, slippered feet propped up right above the kitchen table amongst the cornflake bowls, tummy jutting over her skirt like a giant balloon. Didn't look capable of moving herself as far as the front door. Her scuffed, fluffy mules could barely support her weight. Maybe she needed hot air underneath her, and then she'd rise gently upward and float out the open window. "Would you quit staring at my stomach, Dixie?" Mum snapped. "How can she help staring?" said Jude. "It's so gross." "Oh, yuck, it's moving!" Rochelle squealed. Mum cradled her tummy, patting the bulgy bit wriggling about beneath her navel. I hoped it wouldn't wiggle too much. Mum's navel looked ready to pop out like a cork. I used to think that's how babies are born. That was weird enough. The real explanation seems worse. I'm sure I don't want any babies myself, ever. "He's given me a right old kicking today," Mum said, proudly. "Gonna be a right little footballer, aren't you, baby David Beckham?" She hung her head over her swollen tummy as if she was waiting for an answer. "Yes, Mummy," she said, in a tiny baby voice. "You're nuts, Mum," said Jude. "You've been a bit bonkers ever since you knew the baby was a boy. What's so special about boys?" Jude threw her arms out wildly, as if she'd like to whack every boy about the head just for being male. "Watch it!" said Martine, snatching her cup of tea out of Jude's way. "What are you on about anyway, Mum? We don't want to move again. We've played musical chairs all round the bloomin' Bletchworth estate." We started off in South Block. We moved there when a 3-bedroom flat became vacant, but then Mum had a row with the people on our landing. So we swapped to the ground floor of North Block, but it was so damp. We had rotten colds and coughs all through winter. Then we moved up to the top floor. It wasn't a good idea to be right under the roof. Whenever it rained, Jude and I had to squeeze into Mum's room because we got too many leaks coming through our ceiling. The council never came to get it fixed, no matter how many times we phoned. We liked living there, even so. Martine liked living in the top floor, because her boyfriend Tony lived right next door in number 113. Martine's the oldest of us Diamond Girls. She's just 16. She says that makes her an adult and she can do whatever she likes. She looks exactly like Mum, but she tries very hard not to. She's got Mum's lovely thick black hair, but Martine dyes hers blonde. Mum likes to wear short skirts, so Martine wears jeans, low slung so you can see the top of her thong when she bends forward. Jude liked living on the top floor because she knew how to get through a secret trapdoor onto the roof. She claimed it was her own private territory. Lots of the boys in our block wanted to climb up there too, but Jude wouldn't let them. She can get the better of all the boys, even though she's smallish and only 14. She might be small, but she's squat and she's very, very tough. Jude looks out for me and squashes people flat when they start teasing me. I'm not supposed to have favourites in our family, but if I did have a favourite sister, then it would definitely be Jude. Rochelle liked living on the top floor because Martine was always round Tony, so she generally had the bedroom to herself. She could prance round, pretend to be a pop singer, hairbrush for a mic, watching herself in the wardrobe mirror. She's always watching herself. I suppose I'd want to watch myself if I looked like Rochelle. She's only 12, but tries to look much older. She's really pretty, with long curly blonde hair and an heart-shaped face and pink pouty lips like one of those little love heart sweets. There's absolutely nothing else sweet about her. A lot of the time I simply can't stick my sister Rochelle. I like living on the top floor, so I could stare out the window and pretend Bluebell and I were flying over the rooftops, high above the tower blocks, over the ocean, all the way across the world to Bluebell's birthplace in Australia. I knew that was where real budgie girls come from. When I made Bluebell talk, she always started off saying, "G'day, Dixie." However, if you were rude enough to look up Bluebell's bottom, she had this little white label saying "Made in China." She didn't talk Chinese, but I sometimes fished out leftover cartons of chow mein and chop suey from the dustbins, and Bluebell dug her beak in very happily. I felt round for Bluebell at McCarty's sleeve. I didn't often walk round with her perched on my fingernail, even at home, because everyone acted like I was a total nutcase. I stuffed her up my sleeve and said, like a little paper hanky. I gave her feathers a secret stroke every now and then. I needed to stroke her now because Martine and Jude and Rochelle were all shouting and I knew it bothered her. "We want to stay here, Mum, okay?" said Jude, sticking out her chin. "North Block's much the best. South Block sucks, and Middle Block. North Block's my territory." "I've got my bedroom just the way I like it," said Rochelle. "It's not fair, Mum. You never think about us." "We can't leave this flat. Not now Tony helped to do it up so swish," said Martine. He just helped her paint the Rochelle's bedroom, but she acted like he did a complete change in rooms. "We'll never get a flat as good as this, not on this estate." "You're right," said Mum. She eased her legs down onto the floor, rubbing out her blue veins. Then she sat up as straight as she could and folded her arms across her big bosom. She gave us such a look we all shut up, even Jude. We're not getting a better flat on this estate, okay? We're moving, like I said. It's all planned, in all my star charts. Every time I read the tarot cards, the Wheel of Fortune comes up, symbolising a new beginning. We have to act on it. It's like our destiny. You and your stupid fortune-telling, Mum. You're like a bloomin' gypsy. My fortune's right here, said Martine. There are too many bad vibes here, said Mum, shifting on her chair and patting her tummy protectively. Yeah, and whose fault is that, said Jude. Why did you ever have to get pregnant again? I can't help fate, darling. It's all in the stars. Mum looked up as if the Milky Way was shining across our kitchen ceiling. We did a project on stars at school, and the planets, and all their little moons. We had to draw them, but my compass didn't work, so mine went all wobbly. I said, I did that project when I was back in primary school. I got an A, said Rochelle. Why'd you have to always show off, Rochelle, eh? I said, who cares about your stupid A grades? I cared. It was horribly unfair that Rochelle got to be pretty and very clever. Jude wasn't pretty, but she was very clever, even though she didn't try much at school. Martine was pretty, but she wasn't any good at lessons and couldn't wait to leave. I was plain, and most people thought I was stupid. Pipe down, girls. Now listen. We're going to have a fresh start. We're leaving this dump altogether. No, we're not, said Jude, folding her arms too. You can't make us. Oh yeah, we are moving, said Mum, and she nodded at the letter in front of her. We all thought it was another bill or some silly letter from the social. We didn't take any notice when Mum was reading it, though I had wondered why she hadn't scrambled it up and thrown it in the bin. Martine snatched the letter. The Planet Estate, she read. Ain't it just perfect, said Jude. See, Mum, it's fate. Oh my God, it's not even in London. We can't go there. How can I see Tony? I think you've been seeing way too much of that, Tony, if you must know, said Mum. You're too young to get so serious. Oh, that's great. Coming from you. You had me when you were what, 16? That's my point. I know what I'm talking about. You're moving us all to some weird estate in the middle of nowhere just to split me and Tony up, Martine wailed, starting to cry. Oh, for God's sake, stop being such a drama queen. The whole world don't revolve around you and your boyfriend. I'm doing this for all of us. We need a bigger place now you're having a little brother. Mum patted her stomach. She said as if we'd all begged for a brother. We'd all been appalled and embarrassed when she told us we were going to have another baby. You can't get bigger than 3-bedroom flats, not on council, said Jude. I got my whole bedroom, just this big pop collage. It'll ruin if to tear it down, said Rochelle. We can make another one. You have more space. We're moving to an house, said Mum. A proper family house, their own garden. We all missed a beat, taking it in. I clutched Bilbo. Will we be allowed pets? I asked. Yes, Dixie. Real ones. Birds. I saw a green garden of trees with red and yellow parrots and yellow canaries and blue budgerigars flying freely, cheeping and cooling. Bluebell quivered, trying to stretch her faded feathers. Okay, if you're having a bird and I'm having a big fluffy cat, said Rochelle, I'll have lots of those Persian cats with white fur. I'll call them Snowy and Sugarlump and Ice Cream and Ivory. Phantom cats, as big as white as polar bears, were stalking through my garden, climbing the trees, pouncing on all my helpless rainbow birds. Jude saw me clutching my sleeve. And I'll get a big Rottweiler and he'll swat those pesky cats with one blow of his big paws. Then I'll put him in a lead and he'll be our guard dog and he'll always look out for you, Dixie, said Jude. What are you on about? Said Martine, still crying. This is just crazy talk, dogs and cats and bogging budgies. It ain't a game. We can't move. I won't. Yes, you will, said Mum. Stop shouting at me. I don't want my blood pressure going up. It's bad for the baby. That fucking baby, said Martine. She said so many bad words we all blinked. Stop that, said Mum. I won't have it. Do you hear? I know you're upset because of Tony. You can't really think about about your poor little baby brother. Yes, I do. You're so selfish, Mum. You act like none of us girls matter. You're just so obsessed with one stupid boy. You're mucking up all our lives. You should hear what they say about us in the estate. Hear what they say about you. Well, I won't have to hear because we're moving. You can swear at me all you like, but it's settled and signed for. Totally official. So Mum rolled out the letter and smacking it on the table. She hit her wrist by mistake and rubbed it furiously. Ouch! Now look what you made me do. Good! Martine shouted and she marched out, slamming the front door. As if I care what this boring old bag's been saying about me. Mum, having a sip of tea. Anyway, what have they been saying? I looked at Jude and Rochelle. Rochelle opened her big mouth, but Jude gave her a quick nudge. So this Planet Estate, Jude said to distract Mum. How did you hear about it? There was silence. People are always saying things about her. We don't tell Mum, even when we're mad at her. I went down the council, telling them all about that baby wanting to swap, and this girl diddled away at her computer. And the moment she meant the planet state, I had this weird tight feeling in my chest. Indigestion, said Jude. Intuition. I just knew it was a place for us, especially when she said there was 6 blocks and also 6 streets of houses and gardens for big families. Rochelle was counting on her fingers. 6 blocks? There are 9 planets. Remember when we did them at school? Okay, you better get off to school. You're all late, said Mum. No point going though, is there? Not for moving, said Jude. You bunk off half the time anyway, you bad girl, said Mum. Well, you can make yourself useful going down to Tesco and bringing back as many cardboard boxes as you can manage. We'll need them all for packing. I'm going to school, said Rochelle. I'm telling all my friends we're moving. We're really going to be living in a proper house with a garden, Mum. Can I have my very own bedroom? It's not fair I always have to share. We all share. We started off Martine and Jude, and Rochelle and me, but it didn't work. It's better with Martine and Rochelle, and Jude and me, but it would be best if we all had our own bedrooms. Can I have my own bedroom too, Mum? Can all of us? We'll have to see, darling, maybe. I don't know exactly how many rooms there are, or how big they are. I badge the biggest room, said Rochelle. No, I've got to have that for me and the baby.